And now I can move on to designing the UI. So actually how we gonna display the competitor records. To do so, I'll switch to the Show UI view. So I click on this button at the top of the screen. And here I am, completely blank. First, let's start with designing a mobile view. And what I mean by mobile view, if some of you are wondering what I'm talking about, if I go back to the mobile application on my phone and go to the accounts, first I see a list of all the accounts right here. So this is what I refer to the mobile as to the mobile view. So we're gonna design how one row on this screen looks like. As you can see, for accounts, it includes the account name at the top and then 3 additional information or 3 little fields that define the street, zip code, and also the city. So for the competitor, what I can do, I can add or create a new view. If we have some of the partners or attendees, customers using Microsoft Dynamics 365 as a backend, good news for you, we can reuse and download the views from your Dynamics organizations and use them right in the mobile app. So it's gonna save you a lot of work. For the purposes of this training, we'll just create one from scratch. So I click on the new view here at the top. I'll choose the type to be public. And again, we have some templates here. So I'll choose a template that's gonna consist of 1 primary field and 2 secondary fields and hit OK. And here's my view designer. So this is pretty much how the view on my mobile phone or tablet is going to look like. So at the main or primary field, I'm gonna have the name of the competitor. And because I chose the template that includes 2 secondary fields as well, I have these 2 now empty cells. So if I select the first one, I can add a new field right there. Right now, the fields on the right-hand side, the options or the palette there is quite limited. So what I can do is click on Select Fields here at the top of the screen. And I want to see actually all of those related to competitor. So I'll just put the check there, click OK. Here we go, the full palette of the fields. The easiest way is to select the field in the designer or on the designer. And let's say right there, I want to see the information who created this competitor. And then I want to know what city they're based in, that competitor. As you can probably see on the left-hand side, there is a really lot of things that you can do here and play with how these cells, these fields are going to be displayed in the mobile app. It can be as long as defining the color, defining the width, height. You can actually do it easier with using your mouse as well. You can place them anywhere on that view designer. Also define some grids, etc. if you wanna have a grid in your application. So really a lot of things that you can do as part of the design of the view. Again, there's plenty more at the top of the screen that you can probably see, from things like adding images on the views, map pins, buttons, creating filters to support multiple views, etc., to even things like creating rules on top of the views. So again, imagination is the only boundary here when it comes to designing the mobile view. But let's say this is fine. So what I'll do, I save my new view or save and close. So that part is done. And now I have to design the second thing, and that's the mobile form. So what am I referring to? If I go back to my accounts in the mobile app and open a form, so I tap on the, let's say, the first account here, you can see that the form in this case includes a number of different sections, such as info. That info section includes a number of fields. Same goes for address. There's actually a map component there as well. And then there are some associated views. So I see opportunities related to this account, activities related to this account, assets, work orders, and also notes. And this is pretty much how we can design the form. So let me go back to the Woodford tool. And now, Bogdan, I haven't forgotten about your question if we can import the forms from CRM. This is actually the one thing that is not possible. We requested to actually redesign the forms from scratch. The views, yes, views can be imported. The forms, however, not. Why? Because Resco supports now so many touch points that it would be really hard to take something that was usually originally designed for large screens of laptops or desktop computers and try to fit it on small screens of mobile phones. Now we also work with wearable technologies and AR, VR headsets. So I believe there's a good reason why we have to do it from scratch. Actually, it can be done pretty quickly. So let me show you how it's done. So I'll click on the new form. I'll just call it default. That's fine because I'm just going to have one. And this is my form designer. I'll make it a little bit smaller. In my application, as part of the accounts, I pointed out that we have those different sections here, like info, address, map, and then the associated views, contacts, opportunities. So in my default version, I only have one section called general, but I can add as many as I want by clicking on the add detail. So let me just show it to you. Very easy, as many as I want to have. I can create those in the app. I can rename them if I don't want to call them general, etc. But let's say I just delete these for now. So on the general tab or section, I'll have the name of the competitor. I clicked on this white canvas so that Woodford knows we're going to actually design that form. So I can now just drag and drop some of the fields that I want to have as part of the general. So I put there the created on and modified on, and I think that's good. And I'll add another detail. I'll call it address. And click on the white canvas. Okay, sorry. Let me just zoom it out. There we go. So address, and I'll put there the city, the country, the street 1 and street 2 fields. And just in case, I'll also add the zip code there. Maybe I want to reorder them a little bit to make better sense. If I want to add some spacers, I can do that as well. So maybe just under zip code, I'll add the spacer, and street 2 I put here and add a spacer there to make it a little easier on the eye. If I wanted to, I would again be able to add maybe some tables, some action buttons, images, even iframes or media tabs, map tabs, etc., etc. So make this form a really rich experience. And similar to views, we also have access to rules. So if you want to create some custom logic or logic behind the form, it's definitely possible right here with the views, and also access to commands if you want to trigger specific action based on the content input, etc. So I think this looks good for our purposes. Pretty simple, pretty easy. So I'll save and close this. And then we have to do one more thing before we publish the mobile project. I have to go to the home screen and make sure I'll add that competitor entity on my home menu. And I can say, yeah, this is a new one, so let's put it right at the top of the screen. I save that and publish this mobile project. So quick recap, what we did, we enabled a brand new system entity called competitor. We chose some of the fields for the competitor entity and then played with the design of the mobile view and mobile form.